So today we're going to be working on our first gen Mazda Miata, and this is a 90 to 97 year model and possibly one of the coolest ones ever made. Why? Because these have the pop-up headlights. We're going to go ahead and upgrade these here. We're going to convert everything on here to LED. Now we're talking about the headlights, the parking lights, the marker lights, as well as the tail lights. And well, our marker lights aren't even working, so we need to go ahead and fix that before we replace them. Chances are you went ahead and bought yourself that first gen Mazda Miata for one cool reason. These guys right here, the pop-up headlights, really make a statement with this car. There's cool things you can do with these. Let's check them out. Now we have our sleepy eye feature right here. Now, of course, when your Miata buddies are driving by and when you do the wave or the wink, you have this feature. That's pretty cool. Now, if you ever wondered how those lights actually operate, it's pretty cool. When you turn the lights on, there's a little electric motor beside the headlamp unit with a bar connecting the two. Well, that motor rotates 180 degrees, lifting up the light. And then when you shut them off, it rotates an additional 180 degrees right around, dropping the lights down. Pretty simple operation, easy to work on, easy to fix. So the other cool feature inside here is not only do you have the switch to lift and lower these here, but if you don't want the lights on for whatever reason, right in the center of the dash, you can manually raise up the headlights by pressing this button. You want them down, press it again, and they're back and flush. This is so cool. I could just do this all day. All right, let's go ahead and start by opening up the hood. Get our prop rod set up here. Now our TNS relay is over here on the driver's side fender. We're gonna pop off this cover. Oh, and look at that. You can see one of our relays just kind of winging off in the breeze with some tape holding it. So that could be an issue. And we wanna hold that relay and we're gonna reach inside and turn our switch. I can feel the relay clicking. But we do have intermittent operation of our headlights as well. It could be that this relay is starting to malfunction, causing a problem, but we also want to go ahead and double check some grounds. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and tap these relays and see if we can get something to happen here. And there we go, we have a poor connection. Lights just want to do what they want just by wiggling this relay. That's it right there, just by twisting this. So we have an electrical issue. These electrical connectors on the old cars can really be buggers, and you got to be careful because the plastic can be brittle and you don't want to break that. We definitely have some corrosion on the inside of one of our tabs here. It's nothing crazy, but that could be the cause of intermittent operation as well as corrosion on our electrical connectors. I'm just going to pop this back in for now. So it just seems by me removing that relay and reinstalling it. I'm going to go ahead and test that switch again. I'm going to check those lights. Seems to be operating properly now. It could have been just a poor connection. We can go ahead and clean up those tabs a little bit before we finalize that. You can also, instead of using the headlight switch, we're going to use our dash switch right below our hazard. Everything seems to be working there, but our marker lights are still out. This relay beside it is very warm. And when I disconnect the little tab here and slide this off, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like there's something going on inside. So we want to go ahead, we're going to remove this relay as well. And we're going to take a look inside of that and see if that could be causing a problem as well. All right, go ahead and pop our relay off here. Internal of the relay looks okay, but there's no reason why this should be getting excessively warm. I checked everything, the pins are okay. Everything looks good in here. So I want to go ahead and test this again. I'm going to push this in gently. And I can actually, by pulling this in and out, we can hear that relay working. Now, it wasn't clicking before. So if I push this together completely, let's go ahead and check those lights. So we hear the relay clicking, and now we have the rear marker lights are on. Looks like the taillights and our license plate are all working in the back, but on the front markers are still dead. So we are going to recommend a replacement on the relay. We'll take care of that. Let's see if we can continue on with those front markers and figure that out. Maybe it's just the bulbs on the front. What do you guys think it might be? Go ahead and throw something down there in the comments. If you run into this issue, what did you guys find? It'd be great to find out that just the 2 bulbs are blown out on the front. But we know how that works. Working on these old cars, you just never know what's happening. That's what makes them a project car. That's what makes them fun. The bulb looks okay, but bulbs are cheap enough. I'm gonna go ahead and replace this anyways. If it still doesn't work, well, we just continue on. And look at that. That's wonderful news. We're gonna go ahead and swap out the bulb on the other side. Oh, there it is. Yep, there it is. I got it going. It was a poor connection. So most of these lights come out with just a Phillips head screwdriver. And even if you're just replacing a bulb or doing a refresh or an update like we are, everything's going to come apart and go together the same way. Definitely don't want to lose this hardware. Well, this should pop right out. Oh, there we go. Obviously, you got to be careful with this because it is an old car. The plastic can crack and you don't want that to happen. There it goes. We just have these screws here holding our light ring in place. Rotate that counterclockwise, line them up with the screws. Pop that right out. And right on the back, we have the connector. Just pop. All right. Another great thing about working on this car, things are really, really simple, and that'll took all of like 2 minutes to go ahead and remove that. Thought that screw was a lot shorter than it was. I swear this goes through and holds the back bumper on. Here we go. Oh, geez. The inner one is even longer. It's like 3 inches long. It's ridiculous. All right, here we go. Twist. Pop. Our Miata, on our trim rings, it actually had all 3 of the tabs. A lot of the time these tabs are going to be broken off. You really want to go ahead and replace those. The other thing when you're replacing light bulbs or anything like that here and you have this pulled apart, go ahead and check all your plastic pieces are on here for the headlight bucket itself, because this is where the adjusters are. It would be terrible to go ahead and take all this time to just put in new lights and then afterwards you can't adjust them because the adjusters are stripped out, broken, dry rotted. Always be careful with your screwdriver too. You would do one of the tricks here where you're running a screwdriver and all of a sudden you're slipping across the paint. Oh, well, don't ask me how I know. Just let me know in the comments if you've ever done that. What kind of silly things did you ever do with a tool in your hand? Or how about the old screwdriver in the back pocket and you hop into a car? Yeah, that seat will never be the same. But I know to some of us out there, being the enthusiast, we're probably not going to be too happy about swapping out the stock lights and getting rid of them. So kind of throw something in the comments there. Let me know what you think. You know, if it was yours, would you keep it stock? Both of those are out. All right. Oh, hey, what's going on? Well, here we are. We got to go ahead and get these taillights out. Why don't you go ahead and follow me over here to the back corner. Right here, this is supposed to be a carpeted section that matches the panel. If you do have this, you're just going to go ahead and pop out these plastic buttons here and remove that section. It's going to expose the back side. Now, we have a connector right here. I know I have to use my pocket flathead screwdriver. You're going to disconnect the electrical connector here. It would normally pop right out. There we go. And then pull the harness off the stud. I'm just going to go ahead and zip these off. Try not to lose these nuts here. Not like they have far to go. I'm going to try shifting this tail light, but I don't think it's going to move yet. There's a possibility that this last nut down here has to come out. Just seems down and out of the way.
All right, well, I would expect that to pop out. Here we go. I just want to put the nuts on there to protect the stud. Not like we're reusing these, but if you ever wanted to sell off your parts afterwards and make a few bucks back to do that next project or mod on your vehicle, you could always sell off those parts. Got to remove that from the vehicle. Here we go. Now, chances are we're going to have to swap this out as well. So if you need to, we're going to pinch these tabs, pop that off, and then take this, twist it counterclockwise. So now we have our lights out. Now you got to focus on pulling our gasket. Chances are, just like ours, this is all dry rotted, just crumbling apart. Ours wasn't leaking at this time. It actually dry rotted is pulling apart. You can use just a simple green. I like to go ahead and clean up the body before we install any new parts. You know, throw out their comments. What do you guys think? What chemicals would you use to clean up the body or the pockets here before you assemble? What extent would you guys do to go ahead and clean up the gasket here? I mean, I'm not gonna sand anything down here, but you can see I'm just gonna kind of run my rag over here to clean up a lot of the gasket material. If you really want to, I'm using a plastic razor blade here. These are great for when you don't want to mar up a painted finish. Now, does this tend to be a little bit of overkill? Probably. But if you really want to go ahead and go to that next level, this is it. I'm kind of excited to go ahead and get our light installed here. So what we actually did was we got this really cool set of new taillights. It's a smoked internal lens on it with a clear outer lens. I'm gonna go ahead and install our LED bulbs in that. So I'm not worried about the other side right now. We're gonna get to that eventually, but I wanna go ahead and pop it in here because I'm pretty stoked. I wanna check this out. Old on the top, new on the bottom. Can't tell me that that's the coolest thing to go ahead and update it like that. Let's go ahead and get this thing set up into the body. Line that up. Go ahead and press that in. Nice. And you're like, hey, why did you remove 5 nuts from that, but there's only 4 holding the taillight? Well, when you're doing a project car, sometimes by accident you remove some extra pieces. And well, I did that. I just removed a matching 10mm nut off the bottom, which is the lower filler panel there. Not that big of a deal. Just zip that right back in. So we chose a Miata for our project car. What made you choose a Miata for your project car? And we chose it because it's a very popular car. They're pretty cool. All kinds of mods can be done to these here. You can do engine swaps, you can do body upgrades, body kits, suspension stuff, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So I was so excited about putting in the new light, I actually went back and I just kind of threw this back in the body. I didn't even bolt it in, and I plugged it in with the original bulbs. I had to have a comparison just to have them side by side. Let's go ahead and check this out. Yeah, sick. How about now? Ooh, not grooving on that. Now you can see here we have both of our tails. We have that comparison going on. I still love this look here. Only thing that we have is we have a flickering on the backup light here. So we're gonna go ahead, let's see what we can figure out on that and get that fixed up. But what are you guys saying? Is this something you would keep in your car? Or would you go back to the original lights and just pop LEDs in the original taillights? Well, we ended up putting in the regular halogen bulb back in here. We installed the LED, and for some reason it's not working. Could be defective or whatever the problem is, but it's not working for us. It's great that you have the luxury of doing what you want with your car, right? You want the LED light over here, LED turn signal over here, you can run the halogen. But if you also notice how much brighter this is too, this is gonna be key. It's a safety thing as well. I think we're gonna stick to the halogen bulb here and keep the LEDs on the outside. It still looks fantastic. The lens itself and the light looks fantastic. So once again, what do you guys think? What would you do? Would you hunt down some other LEDs and see what you can do? Or would you be totally satisfied with that? Let us know in the comments. I like My new taillights. My taillights make me happy. Sick. The nice thing is I only have 4 nuts over here to put on because I was smart enough to figure it. I screwed up on the other side. So far, very happy with this upgrade. We do want to go ahead and paint up our headlight buckets here, or our trim bezels and our screws. So what we did was we went ahead and we started by actually washing these here. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I put these through a dishwasher and ran them through the full cycle. It could work. Just don't get caught doing it. But you can also just use some dish soap on a towel. I took my screws, I jammed them into the cardboard here. That way there, we can go ahead and take care of those as well. I'm gonna go ahead and start with a light coat of our primer. We chose to use our Flex primer here because we're gonna be using this on plastic too, and you don't want the paint to flake off. So we're gonna do 2 coats of the primer, and then we're gonna do 3 coats of the black to top it off. Oh, these are coming out so nice. Our painting is done here. It came out awesome. I can't wait to see these all dried up, but so far, everything coated really well. There's no blemishes in it. It's perfect. And I'm calling our painting a wrap. This is where the fun begins. So check this out. Here, it's a new LED light, and it has this halo around the perimeter. This is a pretty cool feature. I actually have this on my Jeep, my Wrangler. And I have the outer ring wired into my parking lights. So when I turn on my park lights, the amber lights light up, and then the halo around the light lights up. The other thing you can do is wire it into a turn signal so the halo flashes. So what we're gonna do is on the back here, there's a 3-pin connector, plugs right into where the headlight goes. If you want to animate the amber halo, you need to splice in these 2 wires here. That's where we're at. And well, that opens up a whole bunch of fun stuff here. I have my parking light on right now, and I want to go ahead and test. So it looks like the red one is my park light. My plan here is to go ahead and wire in that halo so that it works with the park lights. So when we turn on our parking lights, the halo will light, the other lights around here will light. Basically, I'm just creating jumpers right now so I can test everything before I start cutting and chopping into stuff and splicing. Highly recommended. The nice thing about doing this here, or you guys joining me, watching along, you might have done this before. If you haven't, you get to learn from the old man. A lot of stuff I've done, a lot of stuff I've melted, caught fire, all kinds of cool stuff like that. You guys ever do an electrical project and have a little hiccup, maybe melted some fuses? What was the craziest thing that may have happened to your project when you were doing something? Love to hear about it in the comments. It always makes it for an exciting read. All right, well, our light is on. I do want to try something else though. Well, we could wire it as a turn signal, or we could wire it as the running light. I think we're gonna run one or the other. I don't wanna mess it up or do anything different. Something simple is we can run it as a running light. So let's go ahead and do that. We definitely have the correct wires where we need them. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Rubber gloves just doesn't cut it when you're doing this here. You're like, oh no, he's gonna cut into the harness. Sure did. And I'm actually gonna cut them offset. I'm gonna strip both sides of these. Twist these wires together. Get all those strings nice and tight. So now we have our connectors all added here. set in. Now I made this so that for any reason, if we want to disconnect these, simply it's a plug and play. It's not soldered, but it does have special connectors on there that we can go ahead and do this. So now we're going to actually do a full test. I'm going to take this here. And look at that. I have to get connectors for this end as well. But we can still do our full test because we're crazy like that. And we want to go ahead and turn on our parking lights. Okay. All right. Well, look at that. Oh, there it is. All right. Parking light on. Nice orange halo. All right. The next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and turn our headlights on. Boom. There we go. And how about a turn signal? There it is right there. Yeah, we should be good. We could do a high beam too, but I'm sure, yep, there we go. Perfect. Shut everything off. Stunning. I am just excited about this as much as I am for the taillights because I love the orange halo. Once again, I did this on my Jeep and it stands out. It's different. I like it. And right now, that's all that matters. Now, I did on purpose leave these wires long. Obviously, we have to run from the back here up to the headlight. I don't want to make sure that I'm not tugging and pulling on wires prematurely, causing them to pull out or internally stress. You're probably like, just pull that off. Nope, not happening. Not gonna do it yet. I got my DOT label at the top. It's probably gonna be important because your high and low beam need to be positioned specifically. Time to plug this in. Be helpful if I line that up properly. That's what happens when I'm not wearing my old man glasses. Beautiful. It's almost like it came from a factory like this. Only better. All right. Don't get too excited. We are going to wrap a little bit of electrical tape on this as well. Because we're dealing with electrical, you don't want to be driving down the road, have something vibrate loose, and then pff, your car is melted to the ground. I'm so excited that I screwed up. See these two wires? So perfectly done. But they run in front of the bucket instead of behind the bucket up below. So I do have to cut off my wonderful electrical taping job here. Of course, because I did such a fine job electrical taking the other side too. So, yeah. I'm really curious to see who caught that. Let me know if you caught that. And yeah, don't do that. Don't do this at home. All right, let's get our light set up in here. Line it up, twist it. There we go, locks right into place. Get our ring on here. Haha. Perfect. All right, my outer side panel is not popping on. So I gotta figure that out before we start jamming screws in there. That's all I need for one of these covers to do is get jammed up and scratched somewhere. There it is. All right, let's go get our screws and pop those in. If you are a Miata person and you're watching this and not getting excited, I don't know if you're really a Miata person, but that is awesome. I gotta test them out one more time. That's hot. Oh, I love that. All right, let's get that other side done. It's gonna be great seeing these wrapped up together. Let's go ahead and get our bezel on. All right, let's go ahead and test these out. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and continue on, get the other lights installed. We have our new marker lights here. These are a nice smoked LED application, pretty slick installation. You can see the difference. It's going to be pretty awesome. We not only have the smoke lens, but we have the screw heads that we painted black as well. So that's really going to look pretty cool. All right, just got to get these lined up and locked in. There it is. Would you look at that? I don't even know what else to say. That just looks so good, especially with the blacked out screws. Now that we got these two front ones done, let's go ahead and get the two back ones installed. All right, let's go ahead and take a look up inside here. Let's get that third brake light. Pop that bulb out. Grab that fancy new LED. Feed that up inside. Twist and lock. There it is. Be helpful if you turn it the right way. Being backwards and upside down kind of messed me up, but we got it in. All right, all set. All right, so right here we received our new turn signals and running lights. They are smoked, pretty awesome units. Can't wait to get these installed, just like all the other lights. Now, the one problem with this here is that we received our LED bulbs, and unfortunately, we received the incorrect ones. We got red instead of amber, and we can't really use that for legality purposes. So what we're gonna do is we are simply going to pull this out, and we went ahead and got a stronger amber bulb for this here. I'm gonna pop that in. And when I say stronger, it's more of a bold amber color. And we're gonna install that. Now, in the comments, go ahead and blast us with that. Let us know if you want us to go ahead and reorder those LED ambers for this, but wait until you see this first. Let us know if that's something you would leave in here, or if you wanna go ahead and order up the LEDs. All right, gonna get the other side in, and then we get to have our final reveal. So I am using my regular screwdriver for this here. Get a little better control out of it. I mean, in some cases you can use your electric drill, but I just like to be careful, especially on a finish like this here. Waited so long for the products to arrive, you don't want to scratch it. All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. Let's check it out. So that's a wrap on our Auto Miata Light project. Now we're pretty stoked on how everything came out, how all the components fit, and how nice this really looks. Let us know down in the comments what you like, what you don't like, and what you would do different. We also want to know what you want to see us do next on our project car.